What's up, YouTube? This is Brian from Team Board Wipe and Ollie from Team Board Wipe, I guess. Oh, there he goes. I just got third at the Chicago Regional with Ishizu Tear. It's pretty standard list. I don't think there's anything too crazy about it, but content maybe. Shout outs to TGG, ARS, VCG, the 3 local Team Board Wipe sponsors. If you're in the area, look them up, go play some locals. Shout out to all these cards, for the most part, are Walters. This list, for the most part, is Caleb's. I didn't do much except show up and get really lucky on mills. Shout out to Wisconsin boys for driving me there and back. I drove to Madison and I crashed with them, and then they drove me, and then they drove me back. It was pretty cool. And I got 30 Worlds points. So let's get in the list. We played 3 Sheeran, 3 Havness, 3 Murley, 2 Rhino. Very, very few people are playing different ratios than this. Also, technically, tier monsters, 3 Planet, 1 Terraforming. These are tier monsters unless you mill them. They're only tier monsters in your hand if you draw them. And then this is basically a tier monster. It's the Fusion. So Hani was playing 2. I was playing 2 for a while. But I decided for this event I wanted 3. I just wanted to be able to hit as often as I could. Playing 40 cards. I felt like at a regional, especially where I played 6 non-mirrors, I wanted my deck to be as consistent as possible, and it was. My mills were crazy. A little lucky, and a little bit because I only played 40 cards, and I maxed on every tier name except Rhino. So other tier cards were 2 Scream, 1 Heartbeat, 2 Sulliek, 1 Crime. That's the whole tier lineup. So 2 Sulliek. This helped increase the odds of being able to generate advantage on my mills, rather than playing 1 and 1. And drawing it's not the worst thing in the world either, because then you can search Crime, and having both of these is pretty good if you're also able to play with your tier cards. So that's all the tier cards. I made a Heartbeat. I don't know. Missing Mine is gone, so this probably doesn't have to be in my main deck anymore, but I played it anyway. It was fine. I played... Our cat is attacking my camera wife. He has sharp claws. 3 Magnemite, 2 Jewish Worm, and then Caleb convinced me to put in a Saronir. It actually kind of sucked for the regional because my first 5 rounds were non-mirrors. 2 of them were Despia, so these were okay, but I sided these out quite a bit. So my main deck for 6 of the 9 rounds was pretty with these cards. But they go really crazy in the mirror, and they're just DD Crows that are bodies. It's just kind of ridiculous, these cards, to be honest. Then the Fairy Engine, 3 and 3 for Kaldo Mudora. I did play 3 Kalbeck and 1 Agido, and then I did play the Orange Light and the Diviner. These are the few cards that don't do anything when they're milled. These and like the planets and the Instant Fusion. But when you're going first, this is good to mill because then you can summon it off Elf. And then you can make Baron. That's also good to normal summon to start because you can play around Havness by normal summoning it and sending one of these 6. And these are just too good not to play. And this being at 1, it felt a little weird. When you draw it without a fairy, it's useless, but it was useless when you drew it without a fairy when it was at 3 too. So I figured might as well give yourself the opportunity to draw it. Give yourself a 1 of out for Dweller or problem cards in the mirror. Or if you need a tier to resolve Engrave, give yourself the opportunity to draw and out to a Bestial. Especially if it's a Magnemite, because not only does it hit the Magnemite, it hits their follow-up Bestial too. So it's pretty good. The deck worked really well for me. It was 40 cards. Nothing crazy, nothing, pretty standard. And for regionals, I like standard. Standard is good. Extra deck. I don't think there are any surprises. 6 fusions. I did not play the Dark World fusion. I considered it. Didn't really have enough time to figure out how to effectively fit it in or play with it. So I just did these 6. 3 links, Elf, Sprind, Dark. I did play the Baron because I'm playing the Diviner, and this ended up being really good since I played 6 non-mirrors. And then Redoer, Dweller, Baguska, Beatrice, Zeus. I decided this over Wallow because it felt like a better choice for a regional. There are a lot of players that don't like the Ishizu Tier Mirror, so I figured there might be a handful of players that aren't playing Tier right now. So having Beatrice instead of Wallow to hit their graveyard or set their planets instant fusion when you mill them just worked out really well for me. I cut Zeus for a day and I put it back in. This card was nuts. Some people are cutting this, I think. And I just decided not to, and it was really good. All 15 of these cards are good. I don't think anybody can debate that. There are like a 16th and 17th and 18th card that are also good. But these are the 15 that I decided to play and it worked, so we're pleased. The side deck. I decided 1 extra Bestial. Maybe should be more extra Bestials. Because having them in the mirror match can be really important, especially in multiples. Going first, I decided to Call by the Grave to hit Shifter. And other hand traps if you're playing Sprite against Sprite. Gammas for going second and also going first against Shifter decks. Because they'll either activate it in the draw phase or standby phase to play around talents, or they'll chain it to Sheeran. Both of those situations, you don't have monsters on board, so you can Gamma the Shifter. And it's also just a crazy going second hand trap. Conflicts a little bit with Bestials, but that's okay if you sequence right. Flu Hate. I didn't play a single Flunder deck. I did not get shifted all day. God bless. Like, nobody activated a shifter against me. It was wonderful. Twin Twisters for Rogue, Flunder. And if I thought they were going to slide in a Flood when they were going first, I sided it in. Or to attempt to hit Double Cross. That's fine. 1 Scatter Shot. It sucks that the time rules are the way that they are, but they are. And if you're going to go to an event and you want to win the event, and you're planning, or you're assuming you're going to play people who are not going to play like very fast, like even the good players, like if they're both playing this deck, even if they're like decent players, sometimes the interactions just take a long time. And if you're both milling 5 to 10 cards a turn, the chains get long and it just takes time, and it's really unfortunate, but you have to have a way to win when you're going first, and you don't have enough time to get a second turn in battle phase and do damage. So this is what you do. You send it off Sprint, of course. And then my last 3 cards, I'm never playing these cards again. I hate them because at least this involves like a mechanic, right? Like this does something. You have to, it's like a level 2. You can normal summon this card, and then you can make an elf with it. Like this does things. And it's like an engine. It's a pseudo engine piece, kind of. Like Red Resonator is a level 2. That's a pseudo engine piece for Sprite because it's a normal summon. It's a Marauding Captain too. So like it does things. This card does not. I hate it. It shouldn't exist. Literally, the only thing it does is affect life points. It negs you to affect life points, and life points is not really a thing that should decide the outcome of matches the way that it does right now, I don't think. I won 1 match with this card. Kind of. Like, I resolved it, and I was up by 5,900 life points. So I won I won game 3, and I won the match. We still had a few turns each, though, because we started with, I think, maybe 9 or 10 minutes left. And my opponent did have an opportunity to win the game, even with this card, because the other cards in my hand weren't very good. So I was kind of at a disadvantage. I think he was a little tunnel vision into life points and trying to make sure he got another turn in another battle phase. And he missed that his Scream lowered my Real Callous by 500, so his Kit with his field spell could attack over it. And then at that point, when I drew for turn and I normal summoned and I went to battle phase, I did more damage. And then he Bestialed in my end phase, and then he Screamed again, and that took too much time. So by the time it got to his turn again, he just didn't have time to go to the battle phase.
Are you going to tell the class what the card is?
Yeah, it's Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood. It's trash. If these were my cards, I would give them to my cat to eat. But they
he
are
would
not
eat
my
them.
cards. They're Walter's cards, and
Oh.
I think Walter would be sad. So I felt really bad because the dude was like a friend of mine, and he wasn't like mad at me or anything. He was mad at the outcome and he was mad at the situation, which I understandable. Last time I lost to this card at a regional, I raged. I was pissed because I thought it cost me my top 8, but then I got 7th at that regional anyway. So, but this card sucks. I've never put it in a deck again. Like the people that like think they're really cool activating this card and like resolving this card and winning with this card and like calling it the next Max C. I don't know how they can think like that because this card is just terrible for the game. The only real application that this has was when Jesse Cotton liked to talk about how it like helps you outlast Dweller, but that was before the Ishizu cards existed because it's a lot easier to make Dweller, and you only have to special summon twice usually. So like, it doesn't really have any real application anymore. I hate it. It sucks. It's going away. I'm never playing it again. It just feels awful. It's a dumb card that shouldn't be able to decide the outcome of what would have been really fun matches up until that point. But that's me on my soapbox. The deck is really cool. I love the deck and I love the mirror matches right now outside of time. My opponents and I were agreeing all day that like these mirror matches are really fun until you get down to the last 5 minutes. Because the games that are fun are the really interactive ones that just take a lot of time going back and forth. So super unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. I don't know what the solution is because if they do what I want to do and do 60-minute rounds, the tournaments just take longer and then we're not getting out of there till 11 p.m. And then my 6-hour drive home is even worse. But anyway, shout outs to the guys Board Wipe who gave me the cards and helped me test a little bit. I didn't do much testing. I just felt like I was going to mill how I was going to mill, and if I milled well, I topped the event. And I milled well, so I topped the event. Shout outs to Rising Star, Viral Card Games, TGG Gaming. Shout outs to Ollie. Izzy is hiding from Ollie because Izzy hates Ollie, so I'm sorry, but we do not get to see Izzy this video. Shout out Genesis. And I think that'll do it. Oh, Montana. Shout out Montana, who's filming.